ocean. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make it.
Good evening to you. It's another Tuesday evening, and we are live on Joy 99.7 FM. This is Geek Squad with your girl Adobea Biritwum. Thank you for making time to join us. I know you may have been on for a while because earlier was the National Dialogue on Wash and Climate Change. Thank you for taking a listen to that. We are live on Geek Squad and we are live on YouTube and Facebook at Joy 99.7 FM. If you happen to be at a place where you can just watch what's happening, then definitely get onto YouTube or Facebook at Joy 99.7 FM. I think from the past 2 or 3 weeks, we have been supporting you on your tech devices, giving you different things that you can do when you are facing any challenge with any technological device that you have. And one of the things that came up was the fact that some people probably will be having their hard disk drive and there will be an issue with that, and based on that they wanted to know how to retrieve their information. So tonight we are looking at tips for backing up your digital life. And when we talk about digital life, we live in a digital world now. You're taking pictures on your phone. It's no more the era where people take pictures and then they'll have it printed out for them. Yes, some people do it, but most of the things now we are keeping them either on our phones, on our tablets, on our laptops or desktops. And so we want to just go through tips for you to back up your digital life. That's your photos, documents, any other resource that you have stored digitally. And I have my guest who will be getting into that conversation shortly. But before we do that, we would like to share with you what has been happening in the tech space in the past week. So why not take a listen to the emerging tech trends?
Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Emerging Tech Trends on Joy Geek Squad. In this week's trends, ChatGPT now lets free users generate up to 2 images per day made by DALL-E. You can now share 20 slides in one Instagram post. Google Photos library is dead. Say hello to collections. And finally, Instagram is making views the primary metric for content. Let's get into the details. OpenAI is letting ChatGPT free users create 2 DALL-E 3 images per day. Previously, DALL-E was for ChatGPT Plus subscribers only. A key improvement is that ChatGPT can now generate the image prompts, making it easier to create images. Meanwhile, Instagram has now announced an increase in the number of photos and videos per carousel post from 10 to 20. This feature, which allows users to create what's known as photo dump, was first introduced in 2017. Say goodbye to the library tab in Google Photos. Google is introducing Collections, which aims to simplify finding content. Collections will organize all your albums, including private and shared albums, as well as new folders for people, pets, documents, and places. And finally, Instagram is transitioning to make views the primary metric for all its formats, allowing creators to track this metric consistently across reels, stories, photos, and more. This update will be rolled out in the coming weeks as announced on Instagram's creators account. And that's it for Emerging Tech Trends on this week's Joy Geek Squad. Catch you same time next week for more.
Welcome back. This is Geek Squad with your girl Adobea Biritwum. Thank you for staying with us. We are going to discuss how you can back up your digital life. And when I talk about your digital life, I mean your photos, your documents, emails, WhatsApp chat, everything that you have that you can store digitally. And today I have with me 2 gentlemen. and they would be having this conversation with me. The first person is Samuel Boatin. He is the tech content creator for interesting digital trends. Samuel, you're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing? It's
Great.
been a while.
Yes.
Good to have you back. I also have with me Richmond Abiu. He is the founder for KR Concepts. Richmond, you're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing too?
Good.
Great. I think one of the things that came up strongly last week when we had our conversations was the fact that some people had issues with their storage, maybe their PCs are slow and all that. We tackled that aspect of it. But as I mentioned earlier, we just want to at least give our listeners and viewers tips on how they can back up basically everything. But then we just want to start first with, why is it even necessary in the first place? Like when it comes to storage, the importance of that. So I'll start with you, Samuel, before Richmond.
Okay, so why is it important? It's like when we began photography, digital photography, we were asking why is it important to take pictures and on the phone. Why is it important to even take pictures in the first place? They store memories. Some serve as places to store our data and so on and so forth. So it has multiple applications in terms of it's not all about music. It's not about the pictures alone. So work files can also be stored online. We can have any document that you feel like will have an impact in your life. Like for instance, that thing that your mom used to save under your bed. Those documents, like they always under the bed. When the house catches
Like
fire,
your bed set and all that.
good. And the house catches fire, it's gone. With the digital improvements, we can now scan these documents and keep them. No matter where they are, you can still get them over and over again. So they're very important to actually store them online.
That's rightly said. Anything to add to that, Richmond?
No, I think he said it all. Everything that's important to you must be backed up. You must make copies of it. Even our certificate, back in the days, our form of backup was photocopying our certificates and keeping them somewhere. So we have multiple copies. Now we are in the digital era, so now we have to scan and rather back them up, which is easier
Okay.
and better.
So in terms of backing it up, is there one means of storage? As in, is there a particular way that someone can just look at, or you should look at all possible channels? I know someone who used to say that when he's working on any document, he basically store it on different things at a time. Is it something that people should look at, or one means of storage should be fine with me? I'll start first with you, Richmond.
Well, I always say you should have multiple means of storage. I have this policy which I call the 3-2-1.
Okay.
If the document is very much important to you, or maybe the how do you call it, the file you want to back up is important to you, you have a 3-2-1 model where you store it physically on two different divided, maybe two different hard drives, and then one offsite that is cloud based. So you have three ways to store it: two on site on two different devices, or maybe hard drives, and then one off site. So that's my 3-2-1 model, because if you do it that way, the possibility of losing the data becomes very difficult, instead of just having it on one device, and when that device gets missing or stolen, or maybe there's an attack on it, everything is gone.
Okay, so if I get you, like I have my laptop, I can have that information there. If I have an external, I can keep it there, and then also a possibility on storing it somewhere in the cloud.
Right.
Okay. Samuel, one means of
Why is
storage.
she laughing when she's asking me that question? So, yeah. So the local backup is important, and the online backup is also important as well. Let me digest the two first.
Okay.
What is the local backup? The local backup is to have a storage device separated from your usual usage that is kept in a different room to make sure that, okay, whatever you are using on your PC. So your laptop cannot be your backup.
Okay.
Good. You need a pen drive that is separated. You're not using it you are not using it continuously.
Okay. So I have the main thing on the laptop or a
Yes.
desktop.
You can have your
The local backup means it's
good.
that would be on the external
Yes.
or the pen drive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Your grandma's picture that you've scanned can be on your laptop.
This
You can
grandma.
put it on your desktop. Then you can store the picture on the pen drive just to keep it and locally stored. And then you put it on a bigger pen drive, which is known as a cloud. You cannot pay for it, so Google pays for it.
Just
Then
bigger
you-
pen drive.
Yes, yes. So when we say something is on the cloud, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean when it rains, it will pour down. It only means that we store them on drives that are far away from us. And you can access these drives through the internet. You get it? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's cloud storage, in case someone is wondering.
Yeah, I think we'll
And
have
cloud is not for Apple alone. Those who are thinking Apple,
because there's iCloud.
yes, when they hear cloud, they think everything.
If you use Gmail and you have access to that,
Yes.
you have access to cloud
Yeah.
once you are keeping anything on their drive or even Microsoft. Okay, so the importance of storing this information, I think, like we said earlier, is mainly because we don't want to lose it at any point in time.
Right.
Okay, so what are some of the ways that we can store the information? I think we've briefly touched on them, but we just want to go into some more details. We can start with photos, for instance, and then the various ways that people can look at keeping them. Because I had a phone at a point, it got missing. If I had taken pictures on that phone, how could I have backed them up so that when my phone got lost, I would still have access to my photos? So we can start with that.
Okay, just as you were saying, the grandma pictures, assuming you scan your grandma's pictures onto your phone. Maybe you took a picture, you had your grandma's 90th birthday. That's beautiful memory. You have it on your phone. Probably where you live, there's no internet, let's assume. So from your phone, the next backup will be your laptop. And when you get to your laptop, please move it to your a hard drive or maybe a pen drive that you know it's safe. Now, when you have access to internet, then you are very lucky. When you're using an iPhone, you have access to iCloud, which gives you about 5 gig free storage.
Yeah.
When you're using Android, you have Google Drive that comes with it by default. And then the Samsung users also have the Samsung Cloud. So by default, you have these options to store your data, which makes it easier to retrieve anytime. And as I said, when it rains, it doesn't clear. It's always there.
So we've mentioned these different things. I think it would be good for people to know how to save their photos there. Instead that after taking the pictures, example, you spoke about iPhone, for instance. So if I've taken the pictures, do I necessarily have to move it to the iCloud to have it saved? We just want to go through that backup process. If it's Samsung Cloud, if it's Google Drive, we just want to know that.
Okay, so I have a story for you.
Yeah.
But before I say the story, let me just mention this. So, one other way to say the importance of this digital storage stuff is multiple access. So, for instance, you can leave your document at home by mistake. You go somewhere and you can easily access it.
Yes. Why is it important?
You can look
to
at
see
it.
them?
Your grandma can look at it. Your auntie can look at it. The president can look at it. Everybody has access to the same file from multiple angles.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one very important advantage of this particular.
Yeah, having it.
That's why we have the share
digitally
link and so on and so forth. Same file being accessed by multiple people. Now let me get to the story. So I met one lady one time who told me that her phone is 1 terabyte. I was like, wow, are you sure? So she's from outside. So I was like, oh yeah. Tell her, let me see the phone because 1 terabyte here, heavy phone power. So I was waiting for them some Caterpillar phone and she brought it out and I realized that the phone is not even up to 1 terabyte.
The storage.
Yes.
What was it?
Do you know the storage was actually cloud storage, and she was paying every month for it and didn't know what it was for.
Was it an iPhone?
Yes, it was an iPhone.
Oh my goodness, they are sold it to her without. I think last week I even went through that steps with people because usually iPhone would have the default storage being on the iCloud,
Yes.
and so even though you've bought a phone which is 256, which has 256
gigabytes
gig
internal.
of storage, within a short time you are being told you have to buy extra.
Yeah.
Good.
And
So
people
now let
have
me
to
link
check that.
the reason why this happens. People don't. This is the advantages. Okay, when you have a device like iPhone or Google, sorry, Android. I call it Google. Android. The best thing. That's one thing that forces us to use the Google Drive
Yeah.
and the iCloud.
Yeah.
The best thing is to sync your account to these drives. Your phone will never get full. How does that work? When you have photos on your device and it goes beyond a particular time, they are all uploaded in the cloud. For instance, Apple does that a lot, and then the local files are deleted. So whenever you are getting close to the full package of your internal hard disks or your local storage, it's always deleted. So your phone is never full. You can have 100 gigabytes over and over again.
But what about the situation where you actually do have local storage, but then you are being informed that your iCloud is full, and so you would have to purchase?
Yes, so
I think that's what made the lady buy the 1 TB. And
yes,
she's
now
happy
they
about
told
it.
her like
She
she
doesn't
entered some Apple
Exactly.
store and they said you have 1 terabyte space. Like wow.
She doesn't want to holla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think in those instances, you just have to check. I think the last time I took people through it, usually the Safari application, that's where you have to check and check your default download. Because if it's on iCloud by default, then automatically within a short period you start getting the notification that your storage is full. But then you just have to change it and then move it to your phone. And then after it's on your phone, then you can do the syncing that you're talking about, so that the things on your phone can rather move on to there. Because otherwise, before you know it, you are buying more storage than rather needed.
So truth be told, I'm going to advertise for these two companies. If you are a user, a super user, you're not an ordinary user, you're a super user, it's best if you actually subscribe.
That's true.
Yes, it saves you a lot. I've been paying for a while. It's not that expensive, it's just 35 cedis or so. And you can get up to 200 gigabytes of space. And you also, that's why we're going to talk about the management. You can take your time, go through, take out certain things that are not needed.
So this subscription, can you just go over it for someone who is probably wondering and wants to go ahead and do that?
So the easiest way to subscribe is to exhaust your local and then your free space. Immediately.
Right now, I think our focus is on backing up. So even if I have enough space and even if I have my information on my local storage, the possibility that my phone could get missing. So can we look at the backup side of it, which means that the subscription will be needed. So
if you're able to log in to a Google Drive, you can download the app, your app on the phone, or you can use the browser on your laptop. Just go to your Google Drive account and there will be a session where you can increase the size. So usually when you go on the left side of the Google Drive, they tell you the total space you have and how much you've consumed. On that area, when you click, you'll be able to access more options. That comes with more payments. So there's 200 gigabytes, 100 gigabytes, there's 50 gigabytes, up to 2 terabytes or so. There's more. Same with Apple accounts. If you're able to log in, you see at the bottom area the amount of capacity you've already spent or the amount of capacity that's left. When you click on that area, you can buy more space.
Okay. Even as we are sharing this, if you're listening to us, we'd just like you to share with us, how do you store your digital information, your photos, your documents? How do you store that? You can share that with us on the WhatsApp number 055 1111 997 055 1111 997. So we've spoken about the Google aspect. Can we also go through the iPhone aspect?
I think he did that.
Oh yeah.
Both of them.
Maybe you should hit on it again.
Yeah, I think it will help.
Yeah, so with the iPhone, as soon as you said your 5 gig, you start getting that prompt for them, and it's very annoying, honestly, but it's also great. For me, I'm a super user. I have a 256 phone.
Yeah, talking about super users, we need to just touch on what we mean by that for someone listening.
Someone who's
a super user.
Someone who's a super user is someone who generates a lot of data on their phone.
Yeah.
So, assuming today you pick a dog, let's say you are a graphic designer. You create a lot of files on your phone. You share a lot of files with your clients and all that. Or you're a videographer. You share a lot of content creators. You create content on your phone.
A lot of TikTok.
So you share as you keep creating all those content. We call them data.
Yeah.
So as you create all that data on your phone, the exhaust space, because you can have a video that is about 1 gig. So when you have about 10 or 20 of that, that's about 20 gig gone.
Yeah.
So you end up being like a super user, unlike your grandmother who only have to
I
call
have to
you.
mention my grandmother's name today before I end the show. The way we've been using grandmothers as examples.
Who only calls you anyway, or maybe sees a picture of a plant and sends, hey, Miba, that's all she does. But you create a lot with your phone. And aside being, we are focusing too much on super users too. And let's say the normal users also have like premium documents on their phones. So this will also need to back up their document anyway. So what I would say is, as soon as you get your 5 gig threshold, they will send you an alert that, look, you have exhausted it. These are the packages available. Which one do you prefer?
Yeah.
For me, I'm on the 200 gig package and it's full already.
The monthly 200 is already
it's full. So I'm looking at going for 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes.
The 1 TB phone.
So I think the iPhone one is just easier. It keeps prompting you. That's why when you go to your settings, you keep seeing the red flags there.
Yeah.
You have one notification that, so it's easier to subscribe. Just putting the sad part are part of the what people are scared to put their cards into digital systems.
Yeah, that's true.
So people are scared, but please do not steal your money.
Or even if you find it's difficult to do that, you can use a virtual card.
Yes, the banks are offering virtual
Yes.
cards and prepaid cards these days.
Exactly.
So-
The amounts that you want to spend, you push it onto
I
your
just want to
virtual
advertise
card.
on bank, but they actually give virtual cards easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just subscribe and then enter the card details, and you are good to go. Every month, our 35 CDs
Yeah,
or
35
for-
CDs.
40 CDs based on the exchange rates. You are good to go.
Do you
That
know-
way, you get to save yourself the trouble of losing data, or maybe when you are switching from one device to another.
That's true.
Yes, and most of these platforms, like let's say Google Drive, actually works very well with cross platforms.
Yeah.
Unlike iCloud, I've not tried it on Android devices, so I can't say that. But for Google Drive and OneDrive, which I use mostly, they work cross platform, and you are good to go.
Yeah, good to
You know, this is a big plus for those who work at Circle.
Mm.
They can steal your phone and you smiling and walking away because you know your files are safe. You get it? If you're a content creator and you're working at Circle, you don't have a subscription. It's a big, a big minus.
It's a big wala for you.
Yeah. So I think it's very important because, for instance, if you're someone who has a lot of clients, saving your portfolio and all those kind of stuff. Yeah, if you have this pro account or premium account with these particular platforms, you are safe. You're good to go.
Yeah, definitely good to go. I mean, I think one thing that I just want our listeners to be aware of, it's okay to have a device that has big storage. By the end of the day, back up your information.
Oh,
It's very important.
Because anything can happen. And in backing up the information, right now we've spoken so much about the phones. I think it would be good to also touch on documents and then laptops too, how people can have their information backed up on that. At least with accounts like Gmail, for instance, you can have your documents saved
Yes.
on their Google Drive. Microsoft, I know you would have to pay.
OneDrive is actually free to us. I think 7 gig.
Now, okay, they give
Yeah,
7.
7 gig or 5 gig free,
Okay.
and then now you can pay for extra.
Let me give a quick tip on this
Yeah.
one too. So one thing I used to do, in fact I still do, is to save my details is use the Gmail account. I just log into my Gmail, create a draft, whatever I want to put there, and leave it. And whenever I need to have access to that particular data, I use another device to log into my Gmail and just get it out. It's one of the ways to save documents and a whole lot of information without actually losing it. So know wherever you are in the world, once you log in, you can get your bank account details. You can sync that information to any device at all. Yes. So recently my machine got spoiled, laptop it crashed. I moved to a Mac. And when I picked up the machine, when I logged in, it was as if I was using the same old machine I was using before. The change wasn't so much because of the syncing. Yes. So it's very important when you're using your laptop, same as you do with your phones, you can have the Google Drive sync to it. And OneDrive does so well that it creates a virtual drive and attaches it to your PC. So it has both local and online storage. You can try it out. OneDrive, ONEDRIVE. OneDrive also works very well with Apple
That's
devices.
from Microsoft. Yeah.
It has that doability. You can have it on both platforms. It's
Yeah.
very, very good.
Yeah.
And you can also try mega.nz or mega.io. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The way this conversation is
They
going,
give
I doubt we can
50
even finish them
gig
today.
free storage.
Yes, Mega.
50 gig free storage. And just as he said, that's what I do on my
Please,
laptop.
Yeah, repeat.
Mega.nz or mega.io. It's still the same thing.
Mm.
Now, what I do, just as he said, for me, my important files are on the machine but synced to the cloud. So when I pick my phone right now, whatever document I have on my PC is on my phone. When I go pick your machine, I log in into it, I get all my files in the browser, and I'm good to go. So I don't get to lose any documents. Like recently, I had to switch from Android to iPhone. And sadly, transferring WhatsApp from Android to iPhone is a hell of a task.
Oh,
So
I was able to do mine easily though.
well,
Tell
I
him
tried the move to iOS. I tried the move to iOS option, and it never worked for 3 days straight.
Oh.
So what I did was just quickly pick up the file. Since I already have my documents back up to the drive, the cloud, I just installed the drive on my iPhone. I have the pictures and documents I need for the chat. Praise the Lord, I left it.
Oh.
But that is one thing about backup. But God knows I still have that backup there. The day I get an Android phone, I can still go back, log into WhatsApp, and still get my
And
backups.
have access to it. That's good to know. We have a message from Rayborn. It says, I think I'm able to save my iCloud storage through monthly subscriptions of almost $2. and he says that it has to be renewed every month to access the backed up information. I think that's true. Once
Yeah.
you subscribe
Yeah.
to it,
You're
it's
good
being
to
stored
go.
there for you in the
Yeah.
cloud, but you have to continue with the subscription in order
Yes.
to have access to
Just
your
sacrifice that watch per month.
information.
I
Is that
think-
what?
Sacrifice the watch per
I
month.
think that's one of the things we have to live with in this generation. Like this, it has to be part of your monthly expenses. Just like you buy data, you pay for your electricity bill. It should also be part of
Yeah.
your
Sacrifice the watch.
your monthly subscription. Yeah.
Definitely something that we'll have to be looking at, since in this day and age, the truth is that we would need access to the information.
Yeah.
And once we need access to the information, the beauty of it is what you're saying. I think last Friday, I left the house. I didn't take any of my laptops or iPad or anything. And then I thought I was going to be away for a meeting for just about 2 hours and come back home. But I realized I had to stay on for long. All I had to do, there was a laptop available. Gmail access. I just logged in.
Yeah.
I had access to my drive. The information I needed was available. What I wanted to work on, it was there for me to work on. So that is something that by all means we would have to be looking at. I'm having a conversation with Richmond and Samuel, and we've been discussing tips that you can use for backing up your digital life. Now, do you know we all have those days when you are low on everything: energy, time, cash, and even airtime and data? Well, that's why MTN Extra Time is an airtime and data advance service that allows you to make calls or browse the internet even when you have insufficient balance. All you have to do is to dial *506#, *506#, go through the prompts and select the amount of airtime or data you need. It's more than simple. Doing your favorite things on MTN means you don't get interrupted even when you are low on airtime or data. Please remember, all terms and conditions apply. This is Geek Squad with your girl Adobea Biritwum. We've had a conversation on tips on how you can back up your photos, your documents. But the way the discussion has gone, I know we needed to get into some more details, but then our time is almost up. So just under 30 seconds, wrapping up, we'll try and see if we can do a part 2 of this or otherwise. Richmond, first with you.
Okay. When it comes to backup, there is no two ways about it. Always remember to back up your devices, because you don't know when you will lose it. You don't know when you get a cyber attack. So just make sure you just
back up. 30
Yeah,
seconds.
all I will say is that next we come back next week, I'll give you 2 terabyte free space.
Okay.
So watch out for that.
It looks like the part 2 is happening.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me, Samuel Boateng and Richmond Abu. Thank you also for listening. A big thank you to my producers. God willing, next week we'll be back. This has been your girl Adobea Biritwum. Up next is news. Stay tuned.